Okay, hold on. Hello, wait. I don't know if we're recording anymore. Hello, Internet. I'm going to start talking and then Dale will cut me off if we're not recording. Hello, Internet, and welcome to Say Report Jr., the show you should be listening to, downloading, and subscribe to every week. That's wrong. That was all wrong. I said those words wrong. I'm Zach, one of your co-hosts. I'm not even going back to correct it anymore.
And I'm Dayle. You're the co-host. We have taken away our last names.
I don't know what you said when we started that. I heard gibberish right at the end of that countdown.
I tried to say something real quick from Captain Marvel, and I'll tell you what I was trying to say when we get to our discussion of Captain Marvel.
Oh my god.
But
I have no idea. I've got nothing. I'm sitting here like I heard a bunch of noise. I heard a bunch of noise out of that.
I wonder what got recorded because
oh, man.
I hit the record button at some point during that. It was like, let's see what happens.
God, this is episode 46. We've done this 48 times when you count the hot topics. Not to mention our playthroughs online. We have spent a lot of time trying to get professional at this.
Yeah,
and did nothing.
It needed that moment of I haven't messed with you in so long when it comes to hitting the record button. It needed to get changed up a bit.
Oh man. So
Anyways.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I've done a couple of things in the last week since we have recorded.
Okay.
Namely that I have officially gotten my Rhode Island license reset.
Woohoo!
That was the first one.
Yeah.
It was so weird. I'm gonna keep talking about New Mexico like it's out in the middle of like the freaking
nowhere.
Where was that land? What was the final world in Kingdom Hearts where like Sora's running around and there's just nothing? That's kind of what the image that you have of New Mexico at this point. So like the most I had ever seen in a DMV. First off, not even called DMV out there. It's the MVD. It's the Motor Vehicle Department or something out there. So that's crazy enough. Because I'm Andy Rooney now, and I'm just like, oh, isn't it so weird how things can be different sometimes? Do you know who Andy Rooney is?
No, but it's just.
Oh God, I don't.
The way you presented that was really funny. So that's what
I was saying it. Oh, there used to be a guy on one of the news channels that would do. His name was Andy Rooney, and he would basically talk about how things used to be different when he was a kid. That was his whole shtick.
I thought you just made up a name to a character who was like, I remember when, and it was like a perfect name for that kind of character.
Yeah, no, Andy Rooney got right in there with like exactly where he should be in pop culture. Anyway, so for 6 years, my entire like involvement with any sort of motor vehicle, anything, was an office that was just like 20 people that I had to wait, that were waiting in a room. At most 20 people waiting in a room with me. And just like a couple of windows that I would go up and talk to a person, and I'd get my registration, and I'd get my license plate that used to say 666, and I'm so mad that I lost that. I got my New Mexico plate. I got that because when I was registering my car in New Mexico, as I was filling out the paperwork, the woman picked it up out from under the desk and went, someone handed this back to me because they said they couldn't put 666 on their car as a Christian. Would you like it? And I went, yes.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's amazing.
And then I come back to Rhode Island, and first off, it's taken me a month. It's taken me a month to get any of this together because the process for getting a Rhode Island license, as someone who just like, if you move back to a place where you just move in with your parents, you suddenly realize things like, I don't have bills that come with my new address on them.
Yep.
And I don't have... nobody gives me paper bills anymore because internet. So when I went to go look up, hey, you want to get your Rhode Island license? Well, you need to prove where you live. And I went, I literally have nothing that proves where I live. I have nothing physical that proves where I live as a human being right now because I don't have a car anymore. And like all of my bills are paperless. So I had to wait for 3 weeks while I updated my mailing address online for my new bills to come out so that I could have my father print them out at work and bring them home to me so I could go to the DMV And I tried to do this on my own. I was like, I'm gonna go to the library. I'll go to the library. It's I think I talked to you about the last time. I don't know if I've told this story on
Yes, about the
air.
last time you went to the
I don't think
library?
I've talked about this story on air.
No.
When I was in Silver,
It's
first off, it took me like
fantastic.
5 years to go to the library in town. Where I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the library. I'm gonna be one of those people. Okay, get back into reading. And I'm gonna go to the library. And I went to the Silver City Library and I signed up and I took out 2 books and then I brought them back a week late. And I never went to the library
Yep.
again.
That sounds about right. I mean,
Because it was the end of July. I remember this very specifically. It was the end of July. And so when I read the receipt they gave me, it said you have 21 days to bring this back, as in you have 3 weeks
yes.
to rent books. What I read was end of July, and I went, oh, I don't have to bring this back until August 21st, which was actually 28 days from when I rented those. So I went, I read this wrong. I'm going to drop these off after it closes in the drop-off bin, and I'm never going to come back to this building. And I walked away.
That's so
So,
funny. That's such a good library story.
so like, I'm already uncomfortable with libraries, I would say. So I come back into town. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the library here in East Providence, and I'm going to get my stuff printed out. I'm going to do it all for myself. I'm an adult. I can do this. I walked to the library. First of all, forgot what street the library was on. Because, God,
Because you haven't been here.
because not only have I not been here for 6 years, it's been longer than that since I've been to our
Yeah,
library.
yeah.
So that was the street off. I was actually very close.
That's not bad.
So I had to go find the
That's
library.
impressive.
Yeah, so I had to go find the library. I said, yeah, like, yes, I'm impressive for almost finding the library.
Oh my god.
So I get there, can't get on a computer in the library without a library card. Makes sense, I guess. So I go up to the front desk.
Having fun isn't
Yeah,
hard.
first
when you're
off,
in the
our library looks like an Apple store.
library. What?
I walked in there. I haven't been in this library for so long. They have obviously done some construction. Their computers are in this weird circular thing. Like the last time I was in this library, the very clear memory of what this library used to look like, it was like 6 computers in like a little ring in the middle of one of their rooms. I walked in there. There's now like 30 computers in this like double ring in the
my
same
God.
area with all of these walls built that I've never seen before, and it looks like I just walked into an Apple store, like displaying computers. Walk up to the desk, which is like not a full desk. It's not like like it used to be like an 8-foot thing, 3 computers, 3 librarians behind there helping you, whatever. This is like one desk. There's no one there. So I had to wait for like 10 minutes staring at a
that's
wall
good.
for someone to
That's
come out of a
fun.
back room, which I
They have
guess
no bell
budget cuts.
system?
I don't know how no, and
Budget cuts?
I don't know. I'm never going to be the person that rings a bell, by the way.
Oh.
I walked into a CVS here at like 11 o'clock at night one week, and there was like, the one guy who's working the entire CVS at 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and there was a bell up front, and I looked at that, and I turned around, and I just looked down the aisle and waved him down, and I was like, I'm not ringing the bell. I'm never going to be someone who rings a bell. It
I-
feels so awkward.
Oh,
every
yeah. No, I think I've rung a bell once, and it was just because I was in a hurry. Because otherwise, it's like, I'm not in a hurry. I don't care. You're doing work. But,
Nothing,
like,
nothing would be more annoying to me than working at 11 o'clock at night to begin with, and then to have to hear a bell.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, and that being said, though, those bells I fucking love. Like, if I get my hands on one of those bells, I will sit and hit the little button over and over and over again. I think Cracker Barrel, when I used to work at Cracker Barrel, had some, like, as toys that you could buy. And anytime one was open, I was just, like, sitting at the hostess stand, like, ding.
I don't think you've ever told me you worked at Cracker Barrel before.
I haven't? Oh, yeah, I worked at Cracker Barrel for 3 years.
Jesus. I went to
Yeah.
a Cracker Barrel when I was stuck in Pueblo. There was a Cracker Barrel behind a hotel.
God.
So I walked over there to get food. And I felt really awkward when I ordered my food to go and had to spend 30 minutes browsing their,
Browsing the shop.
gift shop I wasn't going to buy stuff from.
Yeah, they hope
So-
that you will.
So
I have to tell more stories about Cracker Barrel. Oh my God! Continue.
So
with
I'm
your
at the
library.
library. Librarian comes out. I said, you know, what do I have to do to get a library card so I can get on the computer? And I was like, I don't have a Rhode Island license. I've got my New Mexico one. What do I have to do to get on a thing? She's like, well, I mean, if you bring in like a bill or something that has your change of address or anything, we can use that to get you a library card. And immediately my brain went, are you fucking kidding me? I need to get to this library so I can print out my proof of address so I can get a Rhode Island license, but they won't give me a library card unless I already have the Rhode Island license or a proof of address, which I need your computer to print out. Are you kidding me? That was in my head. What I actually did in real life was, okay, and then I turned around and walked out of the building.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna cause a
No,
fight in
it's
a
not her fault
library.
or anything. It was just like my brain
Oh my
immediately
god.
was like, you either need to leave or you're going to start laughing so hard that they will drag you off to a hospital because like I could not believe that that just happened.
Oh my god, that's
So
fantastic.
so I just emailed my father, my like phone bill and my bank statement, and I was
Mhm.
like, can you just print these out? I was like, I need like the pages with my addresses. I don't need the whole thing. And he still came home with all 30 pages of both. Um, so so I go to the DMV, and I tell my parents I'm going to the DMV. It's a Wednesday in the afternoon. I think I'll be back soon. And both of my parents laughed, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to the DMV in Cranston, and it's like, oh, remember, you have to get in line so that they can tell you you have everything to then give you a number to wait in line for your thing.
Yeah.
So that was like the next 2 hours of my life. It was like, go, I wait in line, I get the thing. I grabbed the license, the new license form, and there's no pens anywhere. So I'm like, I hope to God they don't expect me to have this filled out because I got nothing. And luckily, they like handed me one at the desk. It was all fine. I was in and out in like 2 hours after that.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that like I have not spent more than 20 minutes in a DMV in the last like 5 years. That like
Jeez.
the whole process blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
But
I don't think I've ever spent like significant amounts of time in a DMV. Like you hear the horror stories of a DMV and I've like never had to go through those. I don't want to.
I think I got really lucky on that because there was a guy at the counter as I'm in the check-in line, the
Yeah.
first of the two lines. As I'm in the check-in line waiting, there was a guy at the counter that everybody seemed to be rolling their eyes at every time they talked to him. And it was like
Or
he
one of
seemed to be
them guys.
very adamant about so many things, and everybody was rolling their eyes. And he went on break about three people ahead of me,
Fantastic.
so it was great. The best part was when I stepped up and I handed the lady my, social security, my birth certificate, my bank statement, and my phone bill, and she took that entire stack of paper and handed me back 90% of it.
Oh.
And then paper clipped the, 2 pages with my address on them and my social security and my birth certificate. And it was like, that's all you need.
Oh
And
my
also here's a
god.
pen to fill out your form. Bye.
Oh my god. Go sit in that line now.
But while I'm sitting there waiting for them to call my number, I also decide now's a good time as any to get in touch with the Rhode Island bartending school where I'm gonna go and get my bartending
Yep.
license. So I emailed them a couple of questions like, what's the schedule like? Because I have to go at night and all this other stuff. And as I'm sitting there, I don't even realize this. As I'm sitting there, they called me
Oh.
because I think that there was someone just sitting at the desk like, ooh, an email, something to do, because it's Wednesday in the afternoon and we're not doing anything. So they call me back. Oh, that's good. I get signed up. I fill out my paperwork, all of that online. I get signed up for the class. And then they call me back again after I get signed up and pay them. And they're like, okay, next thing. We need you to come fill out some paperwork and we need you to.
Have proof of where you live.
Yeah, God, that was fun. No, but I did ask them. That was the big question I had for them is like, I'm sitting here in the DMV and I only have a paper license. Is that going to be enough to get my freaking state license to serve alcohol?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's fine. No worry about it. It's like, thank God.
Perfect.
The next thing I need to do is have to wait 4 weeks before this thing shows up before I can do anything else. So they're like, okay. First off, they asked me what color my juicer should be, as in literally the thing where you squeeze the juice out of the lime when you're sticking it in the drink.
Uh,
They asked me what that's like. It looks like a
uh,
spoon.
Yeah.
But it's like one of them is a slotted spoon with like a regular spoon on top, and you
Yeah.
squeeze them to get. Yeah.
Oh, I know
First off,
exactly what you're
yeah.
talking
So
about.
they're like, what color do you want? And I was like, color of what? Who? What? Like, what color juicer do you want? I was like, there was colors.
There's,
Like, yeah,
there's
I got
colors.
green, red, and yellow. Which one's your first choice? Which one's your second choice? Just in case you run out of the first one. And I've never been more confused about a question in my life.
Oh my god. So like that. I mean, so they're gonna give you a juicer. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. There was
Did
like
you
a whole
say
thing where you
green?
can pay for. I did say green. I feel
You did or you didn't?
green. Yes, green
Oh,
first
good.
and second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good.
Um,
I'm like, green is the. You have to go with green.
oh man, yeah. So like part of it was like $200 for like the course and the certification, and then like for an extra $50 they'll give you like a kit, and the kit has
A
like the
juicer.
juicer and the shaker and all of that stuff.
Ooh,
So
that's. I mean, that's nice.
it was very nice. The best thing, let me tell you, when I showed up, what happened. So they're like, again, I fill out all of that stuff. I give them my my credit card information, all of that. I pay for the course. 20 minutes later, I get a phone call again. I swear to God, it's like there's someone who's like so bored.
I got
Oh,
stuff to
thank
do.
God. It's like watching this, like hitting the refresh page on the email until someone call again. They say, okay, we got all your stuff. We need you to come down sometime over the weekend. Here's the times people will be there. Just come, fill out some paperwork. You're going to be good. I was like, okay, cool. They need to ask all sorts of questions. I don't know. They need to ask what my experience is or something. I don't know. Something going through my head where when someone says the words fill out the paperwork, I expected more forms.
Yeah.
I drive down there today. First off, it's in this like strip mall office park. This is not a knock on them. It's fine. It's gonna work out fine. This is actually the most comforting thing because I've been like so anxious about signing up for this. That's why it took
Mm,
me a month and a half to do it.
yeah.
Like I'm actually signed up for this thing now. I was like so nervous about being almost 30 and going into like food
Mm.
service for the first time and all this stuff. I show up. I'm in this like strip mall office park where there's like a coffee shop and a jewelry store and all this other stuff there, right? And then I'm like, where the hell is this bartender? It says that on the sign. I don't see it anywhere. Where is it? So I just start kind of walking the front of the building until I see a thing. Well, it looks like what I literally saw was like a little silhouette drawing
Oh
of a
my
man
god. What
holding a tray with like wine bottles and wine glasses on it, and a little thing underneath that just says "RI Bartending School, 1 floor up." Oh, okay. So like,
seems
there's like
legit.
one of these doors comes into a staircase and an elevator. So I get in there, I go in, I go up to the second floor, and the first thing staring back at me is a D. Oliveira and Morgan
Oh
and
my
D. Oliveira
god.
and Associates office like sign, which for those of you who may not be from Rhode Island, is like D. Oliveira and Associates is like the local like car insurance lawyers that have like the
Oh my
worst
god.
cheesy the cheesiest of the on-air commercials that you see every time you want to watch Jeopardy. Like you're gonna guaranteed you're gonna see a D.
Oh my
Oliveira. Used to be D.
god.
Oliveira and Morgan, and then Morgan died, and now it's
Yep.
D. Oliveira and Associates. Like,
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's
So I come up the
fantastic.
stairs. That's the first thing there at me. Next door is the door to the Rhode Island bartending school, and already I'm like, what the hell am I about to open? Because the windows are blacked out.
Oh god.
There's like a black sheet over the windows, but a sign that says they're open. I was told it was like 12 o'clock. I was told to be there between 10 and 3:30, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And I opened the door. I opened the door, and there's a desk with a computer, and then there's just two bars on the side
Oh.
where students are shaking up drinks and doing stuff, and they're being taught how to make drinks, and there's people sitting at these bar stools
Oh my
teaching them how to
gosh.
make these drinks, and it's like someone just rented out this office space and built two bars and stuck them inside.
That's amazing.
And
And
I
I
was
want to be
and
there.
immediately I went, this was the right idea. This is perfect
Yeah.
because I no longer feel anxious about this at all because I'm going to be coming into an office park in the middle of the night to make drinks in what looks like someone's bar that they put in their attic.
Oh my god. That's so funny. That's perfect.
And then I was like, okay, so I was like, I walked up to all of the people and I was like, well, here's, who's so and so? I told her, fine. Like, oh, that's me. Hold on. They come around. They come up to the desk. They scoop together for some reason a bunch of bills that are on top of the like dollar bills and $10 bills and stuff that are on top of the desk, which
Huh.
I have no idea why. I don't know. I'm assuming they
Tips?
students had to pay for something and
Yeah.
that was like the money they brought and they just threw it on top of the desk to get going.
Yeah.
And they
Huh.
like scoop it all up. And she's like, okay, well, what's your name? Zach. Okay, we'll find it here. Perfect. Okay, so here's what I need you to sign. Literally a receipt for the credit card I gave them to pay for my classes. That was it.
Oh God.
And then they and then she turns around. She's like, "Oh, you paid for the kit too. Okay, hold on." She pulls open a file cabinet full of juicers,
Oh my
and
God.
ice scoops, and bar kits. And she's like, "What color did you ask for?" It's like green. She's like, "Okay, here it is." She puts it in the bag. She hands me this little nylon bag that says Rhode Island Bartending School on it, with all of my stuff. And she just hands it to me. And she's like, "Okay, we'll see you on the 18th."
Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
that's it? It's like, yeah. It's like, do I need to bring anything with me? She's like, well, let's see. I'm out of pens, so remind me when you come back that we owe a pen to put in your bag. It's like, okay. And then she's saying, and then she's like, and then I was like, so for the first class, what should I bring? She's like, well, you don't need this stuff yet. So you handed me a bunch of stuff I don't need.
Yep.
Perfect. And then, bring a pen, funny enough, and a highlighter, and we'll give you a book when you get here, and we'll start the class. I was like, okay. That's it. It's like,
Oh
yeah,
my
you're all signed up.
gosh.
You're good to go. We'll see you on the 18th. Bye.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I could not believe like all of this like just like wash of anxiety that I have had about like getting started on whatever the hell I'm gonna do next with my life.
Oh
I walk
gosh.
into an office on a second floor next to a second-rate lawyer, and I walk in the door, and it's like, yeah, by the way, like first off, everyone that's like making drinks looks like they're like 19 and
Oh
they're
God.
they're making drinks and they look like they've never had a drink before. And I'm like, what the hell am I getting into?
Jeez. Oh, that's.
I'm like watching these two guys make drinks and one of them is clearly trying to tell the other one how to make the drink they're making. And like,
But dude, you're in the same class as me. Stop.
oh, it was so funny.
Oh,
Like they're like pouring it and oh God, the whole thing, the whole experience was like, what the fuck Twilight Zone episode did I just walk into?
oh God.
Oh man. So that was like
That's
most of
awesome.
my last week or so
Oh,
was
that's
like
so
dealing
good.
with weird Rhode Island bureaucracy in the weirdest way.
Well, welcome back, Zach.
Yeah.
Again.
There was nothing that says Rhode Island more
Oh
than taking
God.
bartending classes on the second floor of a strip mall next to a D'Olivera and Morgan Associates office. Just the whole thing, that whole sentence.
That's amazing. That's so good. Oh God.
So what you been up to?
Uh, well, I started bowling. I mean, the biggest thing that we gotta talk about is some movies that we both saw. The thing that I did that wasn't movie related this week was bowling, and I'm not the best bowler, but I basically my work has a bowling league now, and I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll join. And the first week, my average was 75. But
I don't remember the last time I bowled, so I couldn't tell you if I'm any better or worse
I
than that.
I just
So,
I just like really enjoy bowling. In college, like we used to go. Me and my friends used to go almost like 3 times a month. I don't know. We would be going like almost every Thursday, um, and I just really really like it. So I was like, yeah, I'll get back into bowling, and I never like paid attention to averages or anything like that. Never knew about scoring, like never knew how a league was run. And it's just for fun, so like I don't think there's any prizes or anything, but like learning league rules kind of like you have to switch lanes every time you go. Which was
oh
very
God, do they
yeah.
also do that thing where you're not allowed to bowl when someone else is bowling because
Yes.
the vibrations might affect the other
Well,
person's
yeah,
ball
it's
or whatever?
it's like it's
Yeah,
it's lane courtesy. So it's like
yeah.
I don't like bowling when this is just how I've always been. I don't like bowling when there's someone walking up at the same time as me cuz it throws me off. Cuz I have them in my peripheral and like they're doing the same motions as me, and it freaks me out. So
You know what's weird? I get that same thing at the bar if I'm gonna go reach for my glass and take a sip, and the
and
person
someone
next
else
to me
does.
reaches for the glass and takes a sip, and you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like, no, like, I'm not trying to copy you. I also was just parched. Like, I also just wanted a sip of my beer. I am not, like, trying to idolize you. That happened at the bowling alley, too. Like, I was drinking, like, I was, sitting around drinking, and one of my coworkers, like, reached for his drink at the same time I did, and I'm like, I'm not backing down, because I really want a sip of my beer
Weird
right
power
now.
movies. You just look him right in the eye and go, yeah, lift it.
Yeah.
Lift it.
Yeah. But so that's what I've been doing. But yeah, my average the first week was 75, and if we did the math correctly, it jumped up to 95, which apparently is really good.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Like,
so bowling scoring is weird because 10 pins, 10 frames. Theoretically, if you were just going to count the number of pins you knock down, 100 is the limit.
yes.
But then you get into strange stuff like if you got a spare the frame before, or if you got a strike the frame before, it adds other stuff to it and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So like 95 averages out to 9.5 pins that you knock down every frame,
Yeah.
which out of 10, not bad.
Yeah.
It's just that you didn't get the spares and the strikes that were then like doubling scores and shit like that. Yeah.
It's just and
Why do I know so much about bowling scoring?
I
Anyway.
was just gonna ask you that. Cause like that's new information.
I blame The Simpsons because there's like a whole thing about Homer getting a 300, which is like the perfect score. If you get a strike every frame, you get 300 points.
Yeah, that's a perfect game. Yeah, no, and like there's handicaps too. So and it takes like the percentage of your total pins, and then it adds whatever your handicap was. I'm like, I am learning so much about bowling that I never knew existed ever. The best part of bowling is that we bowl at this place called Alley Cats, and it just makes me think of Alley Cat Strike.
That's Strike. Yep. That's exactly like the second you said that, I went, oh, you mean like the Disney movie? God.
Yeah. Yep.
Remember how I said I felt old earlier? Now I feel like a child.
Every time I go, I'm like, oh, it's like Alley Cat Strike. Maybe I'll. And you know what really sticks with me? Two things sticks with me about Alley Cat Strike. And because I don't remember a lot about that movie. I remember really, really liking it because the dude from Brink is in it, and I loved him growing up. Oh yeah, he's also. Wait, is that him?
He's all over the freaking. No, actually, I don't think he's in Alley Cat Strike. I forget what the kid is, but I know who you're talking about.
I thought
Kid
he
from
was
Brink
in.
is in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
but
I thought
by Alley Cat Strike, I think he would have been too old. He would be college aged at that point.
I don't know.
Yes.
For some reason, I think he's in. I always think that he's in Alley Cat Strike. But anyways, the things that I remember about that movie.
It's another blonde kid. That's the problem.
Yeah, they could not happen. Is like there's a scene in like a legit alleyway. That's like, this is weird for like a Disney movie. There's like a fight or something that happens in an alley.
Yeah, but you're also talking about a movie predicated on the idea that two high schools would have in the same town would have rival bowling teams.
True.
So.
And the other thing that I always think about, and I've actually tried, and it does not work. But you know when the girl goes up and like she kneels down with the bowling ball, spins it.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
down
about.
the lane.
Uh-huh.
That imagery is constantly in my head. And I don't
Starting
know
with the idea that it breaks the laws of all physics, and then going from there, you have to fucking like just parse out the idea that people sat there and watched her do that, and no one had a problem with it. Yeah.
No one questioned it, and she gets a strike. Like, no, what? So I remember there was one time where I went bowling with my friends, and I was like, I'm an Alley Cat Strike this bitch. And
I like to think that you said that very loudly so everyone could hear you.
Oh, I did, Zach. And I walked up to the lane, and none of them, I don't think any of them knew what I was doing.
Which is even better. Which is even better.
But I walked up to the lane and I do the spin, and then I start to push it down the lane, and it proceeds to go to the gutter and spins
because that's what would
very
happen.
slowly down the gutter.
Because that's what would happen. Because that's how physics works on a sphere, that if it's spinning in a certain direction, it's going to go in that direction if you let it loose.
Yep. Yeah, and they were just like, but the worst thing about it is that it also is going, like, the speed of molasses down the gutter. So it's like, we now need to wait for this bowling ball.
Prolonged embarrassment. You're going
and I just sat back down and watched it, and I'm like, alley catch strike, guys. Alley catch strike. And I'm like, none of them knew. But that...
I just, like, you, like, committing to it and just be like, exactly what I meant to do. Walk away.
It's like, I don't know why, but that there are like certain things like from movies that are constantly on my brain or like constantly get brought up by something, and every time I pull into the parking lot of a bowling alley, that is the scene that jumps to my head.
And it's funny because, like, it's not like I think about Alley Cat Strike ever. It never, like, comes to the forefront of my brain. But if for some reason my brain has been like, we're just going to think about Alley Cat Strike for, like, 2 seconds, that is the scene. Every time that is the scene. There is no scene of that movie that I remember except for the girl spinning the freaking bowling ball.
Yeah.
Just like Luck of the Irish, the only scene I remember is when Timothy Owenson just, like, all of a sudden is the leprechaun. And you're like, what the fuck happened to your face? And you're like...
Dude, I remember...
That's the only scene I remember. That and when he gets sucked into Lake Erie. That's the only thing that I remember about Luck of the Irish.
I remember so much about Luck of the... I watched Luck of the Irish, like, on repeat. Oh, God. No, but the other thing about bowling that always jumps in my head while I'm bowling, and it, like, jumps in my head at, like, very inopportune times, is... I think it's from the Rugrats. I don't know. There is I want to say it's the Rugrats because, like, in a cartoon you can get away with this. But there's a scene that jumps in my head of people, like, in the back of the lanes moving the pins around.
Oh, pin monkeys. Yeah, that used to be, like, the job, which was, like, before there was an automated process of sticking the pins back in the rack, there was someone whose job was to hang behind all of the alleyways and just replace the pins between frames. Yes,
exactly. So, but I have, like, an image in my head of, like, I'm pretty sure it is the Rugrats. Where, like,
it's what Stu, either Stu or whatever. What was Tommy and Dill's dad's name? Because Stu was the brother, right?
Nope. Stu's the dad.
Was their dad?
Yeah.
So I think it's what Stu did. It was either Stu or his brother, Angel, his father. One of them used to be a pin monkey. That was where their job started. Or they both did it together. It's one or the other. But yes.
Okay, so so I always have this image of, like, the babies walking behind the bowling lanes and, like, messing with the pins. I don't know why. Like, it just happened.
There's gotta be. We're gonna look this up after this episode and be like, oh, that's why. But I think there's probably there just has to be an episode where they go to the bowling alley.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
Definitely
Oh my God.
is.
Okay, this might not be an episode. This could be a fun thing for everybody to find out because I'm going to pitch a Rugrats episode to you that may or may not exist.
Oh gosh.
Which is that I think they just go to the bowling alley and Stu and his brother are, like,
fighting.
Rival bitching the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you get flashbacks of them working the things, and then the babies, like, get loose and go behind the alleyway and see the thing.
Parents.
Yeah. And then, like, yes. And, like, because I also clearly remember, what it is I clearly remember Stu doing the job.
Yeah.
I don't remember the babies seeing it, but it could very clearly see the babies getting back there and, like, hanging out behind the pin thing. Like, all of that makes total sense.
I'm pretty sure.
So
no,
if that is not a Rugrats episode,
that is definitely a Rugrats episode.
It should have been a Rugrats episode.
No, it's definitely a Rugrats episode because I do, like, they're so small because they get, like, through from the. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely that. And it's always pops in my head when the things are resetting, the pins are getting reset, and I'm like, why was Tommy and the gang back there? Why were they going back there?
Awful parents.
The awful parents.
That's why.
Oh my God.
Or as Stu says, because I have no control of my own life anymore.
Because I've lost control of my. Why are you making pudding at 3 in the morning?
Because I've lost all control. Uh,
So yeah. Other than that, I mean, we
we got stuff to talk about,
got
and
stuff
I've
to
got stuff.
talk
What's
about.
funny is that I need to complain about something, but I realize that I'm going to complain about it in context of other things. So before we get there,
Okay.
we are either about to get a pre-recorded stinger of our favorite
No,
spoiler friends theme song, or Dale is going to try and do it live. I'm not sure what's about to happen. Let's find out.
I'm doing it live, Zach. Spoiler friends, do whatever spoilers can. We ruin things with the show. If you care, you should go look out, 'cause here come the spoiler friends. Yeah!
And also, we should probably point out we're about to talk about Captain Marvel and Happy Death Day to You. So those are the things that would be spoiled. If that is important to you,
Get out!
we'll
Leave.
find you on Twitter later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Tweet us. You can tweet
Okay.
at us. That's fine. We'll give
So
our
now
Twitter
that
handles.
now that I've mentioned those two things, I need to complain about Bones for a minute. And here's why.
Yay!
Here's why. So I'm into season 4 of Bones.
Yep.
Because I don't know, my brain is weird and sometimes I just binge stuff. So I'm into season 4 of Bones. And here's the thing that makes me mad. First off, the episode I just watched just broke continuity in a way that makes me so angry, I want to throw it out the freaking window. There was a scene in this last episode where David Boreanaz was talking to Bones, so Booth talking to Bones, and he says to her, and if anybody doesn't know how Bones works, Emily Deschanel, Zoe Deschanel's sister, sure, that's actually true. I don't know why I said
It
sure.
is true.
It is true, even though they play cousins in a later episode, and it's a whole thing.
What?
Their dad was one of David Lynch's favorite editors and directed episodes of Twin Peaks as well. It's a whole other thing. I just like knowing that. Um, but Emily Deschanel playing Temperance Brennan Bones is also a writer because it's based on Kathy Rakes, who was a mystery novel writer and also an anthropologist and all this other stuff. So David Boreanaz in this 4th season episode just said, I memorize all of your reviews and I have read your book. And if you've been watching the show for 4 years at this point, or like me, have watched it multiple times, that is not a surprise because he has said that multiple times. There are, in fact, episodes in season 2 where he talked about reading her book. Do you want to know what Bones' reaction was to him knowing the reviews and reading her book?
No, I can't wait for you to tell me.
Oh, you've read my book before?
Oh my
yeah,
God.
no shit.
Oh my
He
God.
fucking has told you he has read your book. You have had this exact fucking conversation before.
Maybe it just didn't mean anything to her.
It was
before.
like no, but it was just like this weird thing, and because it was a whole thing about how she's right, like where in the first season her first book has come out and she's getting famous. It's a whole thing. Second season, she is working on her second book.
Oh God.
There is in fact an entire episode about how people are castling and like they're fucking killing people based on her book.
Oh God.
On her on like one of her books, and he's like, yeah, I read it. Yes, why won't? And like they have a whole thing about how she won't let him read her new her new manuscript because she's working on the next book, and she doesn't want. And it's like a whole thing that he has read the book, he knows the book. It's like a whole thing, and then to be in the 4th season, be like, yeah, I've read your book. Of course, I've read your book.
Oh my God.
No shit, you've had the fucking conversation before. It's not a surprise that he has read your book. That's just the first thing that makes me mad, and that's not even the main thing. that's just angering because it just happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's dumb. Like, it's dumb.
Now, the
You
reason that
deserve
this
to be
connects
angry.
to Captain Marvel and Happy Death Day to You. Captain Marvel and Happy Death Day to You have extremely strong female protagonists.
Yes.
Happy Death Day to You, in general, Happy Death Day and Happy Death to You, Tree is one of my favorite, like, final girl female protagonists they have created in years.
Yeah.
She's almost up there with Sidney Prescott, but Scream will always be my number 1. Anyway. Bones, in the first season of Bones, is, as an anthropologist and a scientist, very Vulcan. She is very scientific and detached,
Mm.
and she is very clear about because of like anthropological reasons why she doesn't get into relationships, all this other stuff. She's very, committed to her work, all of that. It is as early. I knew that this happened. I did not believe that it happened as soon as season two. But season two, she is turned into fucking Sheldon
Oh gosh.
in a way that makes me so mad. If Sheldon had never watched a piece of pop culture, she is turned so socially inept and emotionally inept. It is the weirdest switch that gets turned for her because it all of a sudden becomes not just that she is like scientifically detached from things. It's like she never left a fucking room and did anything but read books all of a sudden.
Huh.
And it makes me so mad
That's
because it's like I can see the meeting where an executive from Fox walked in the room and said, "Hey, she's kind of cold and detached, and we kind of want to do this whole will they won't they thing with
yeah.
with with Booth, and we can't do that the way she is because our woman audience isn't connecting with her as a smart
Jeez.
detached woman. So we need to make her like what if it's like she's never seen or heard of any sort of pop culture in the 30 years of her existence.
How does
Ugh, it
how
makes me so mad. It makes me so mad because she goes from being someone who is like smart and calculated to be like here's episodes where she can't even like comprehend the idea that people would have watched a movie. And it's like, no, that's not who she is in the
how
first season.
how does that make her more like
It's like they all of a sudden they turned it
attached?
it's like they most all of a sudden turned it into this idea that like, oh, so Booth has to be the guy that comes in and shows her the outside world. It's like, no, she knows the
Oh
outside
my
world. It's a
god.
whole thing in the first season about how she went to like El Salvador and dealt with warlords while she was like dealing with like the bones of the people they had dumped in mass graves. This is
Jeez.
a strong, capable, smart woman. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh no, no, no. The only reason that she knows anything about the outside world is that
Is
David
because of Booth.
Boreanaz swept in and charmed
Jeez.
her into the outside world and showed her what it was like to talk to people. No, no.
Jeez. That's awful.
Ugh.
Oh
I just
god.
had to get that off my chest.
That's fine. I'm
Now,
happy. I'm happy that you have this outlet to get these things off of your chest.
well, let's talk about two movies that actually get it pretty right. We saw Happy Death Day to You recently. Oh,
First of all,
yes.
wait, what?
Nope, you first.
Well, I was gonna ask you, how did you like Ladybirding?
That was okay. Yeah. So this whole thing is that we saw these two movies in the same day.
Yes.
Because what Devin calls Ladybirding, sometimes I get confused by his terminology
Oh
because if
no,
you would ask me this,
we definitely like that. We did that. It's a Devin and Dale like original
so
term.
okay, so
It's
because
not a
here's the thing.
thing. Like,
Well, no, because here's the thing. If you had asked me like months ago what a Sejan's Gambit was, I would think it was something completely different than how Devin uses that term now. So,
yeah, okay, I get that.
because
No.
Devin tends to use that term now as when the last scene of the movie is in the trailer.
Yes.
What I thought a Sejan's Gambit was when you watch a trailer and get a completely different idea of what the movie is than what's
Oh.
actually the movie.
Yeah, no. That's funny.
Because
though.
that's what happened with him in Enchanted, is that Sejan watched the Enchanted trailer and thought that he could guess the entire story of that movie, and it was
Yeah.
completely wrong.
Yeah.
I thought that's where that term came from,
Yeah.
and now I don't know.
No,
But
it goes. I mean, this is actually a term in the world, but it ladybirding goes hand in hand with our pulling the ripcord in a movie theater. Like, we use it in a different way. If we don't think we're gonna enjoy the movie based on who we're surrounded by, we pull the ripcord and we leave.
Okay, makes sense.
So that's what, in that context, that's what it means to us. But ladybirding comes from, I don't know if you were about to explain this.
No, I want you to. It's your term. You explain it.
So ladybirding comes from Devin and I. We want our good seats, for movies. We want to be in a good seat. We want to be happy with our seat. We want to be in the middle. Because we're crazy, but whatever. We like movies. So there was one time there was a theater near my work, and they it's like this little theater, very very like mom and pop kind of situation, like very independent, and they have kind of like cushy seats, like recliner type seats. Um, so we go there, and because Back to the Future was going to be playing on the big screen, and Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. So of course I need to go see Back to the Future. But we weren't sure if there was going to be a lot of people, if we were going to be able to get tickets. So what we decided to do was figure out what movie was going to be playing in the theater that Back to the Future was playing in. And it happened to be Ladybird, which I did not see. Devin had seen. He was cool with seeing it again because he really enjoyed it. And I wanted to see Ladybird because it was Oscar season and all that, and it was getting all of this, hype surrounding it and whatnot. So we do it. We buy both of our tickets. We get our seats, and we basically watch Ladybird. The people came in to clean, and we just stayed in our seats for Back to the Future, because if anybody questions us, we have tickets for the next movie. It's kind of like a more supportive plexing, if you know what plexing is. Do you
Is
know
that just
what?
when you buy tickets for one movie and then go to another movie afterwards,
Well,
but not pay for it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yes, yes. It is a more supportive way of plexing, pretty much,
It's
because
also
you're
like an
actually
over.
buying a ticket.
It's
Sorry.
also like no, it's just the overthinking and math involved in that just blows my mind. Where the two of you were sitting there like, okay, so here's what theater
Yeah.
this is going to be in for the movie we want to see. Here's what's playing in the theater before it,
Yep.
and then there was even a point where I said to what did I say to Devin? Where it's like, oh, how do we know that nothing's playing before this? Or I was wondering how you guys were figuring out that this would be the same room.
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, I mean, they open at so and so time and
Mm-hmm.
they need to show a movie before Captain Marvel
Marvel.
starts at 8 o'clock. They need to show something because they're
Yeah.
not going to waste the money on there not being something in the theater. And
Exactly.
my mind exploded when I was like, oh, fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to waste that
And,
space.
and they have a schedule, so they know what theater pretty much everything is going to be played. It kind of like is a reason why, it's part of the reason why we don't go to Showcase anymore, because we would ask them about theaters and like they could not tell us what movie was going to be in what theater, and oftentimes when they did tell us, they were completely wrong. You can go back to an episode, I don't remember what the episode was called, but you can go back and find an episode where we were trying to see The Purge and we were sent to a theater with Incredibles 2 playing, and all the people from Incredibles 2 went to go see The Purge on accident.
I do remember that
So,
actually, and I think that's the thing that really that's probably why I like never. Ooh, excuse me. A lot of coffee and beer during this
that's
episode.
fine. Hey.
In case you haven't wondered, as I freaked out about bones for 10 minutes, um, I think that's the thing that really why I didn't think of it the same way you were is
Mm,
that like I'm used to Showcase. Like Showcase is the only theaters around us, with the exception of like what was in the mall.
yeah.
So like the idea that I would go on a website and it would tell me what room the movie would be in, completely foreign to that idea, and not even thinking about the idea that, oh yeah, you can figure out what two movies are playing back to
Yeah.
back in the same room at this
Oh
point.
yeah, well it's also cool because like now we've begun going to AMC, and AMC has the AMC Stubs Club, which is so far the best movie going club that we have found.
I'm still gonna remember to sit down and try and get my money back on those
Yes,
tickets
you
for that,
do.
or apply it to the
Apply it
thing.
to your
Yeah.
next one, but because it's better than Movie Pass. We've talked to extent of the annoyance that is Movie Pass.
Starting with the fact that it hasn't gone out of business yet.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. But it's just, AMC, it's really difficult to go to a movie theater that knows how to run itself and then go back to like a terrible theater who's just like, yeah, we're a chain and we don't care anymore. But so it's like they have a schedule so you can figure it out. And the beautiful thing about AMC Stubs Club is or A-list or something, like I think it's A-list, When you reserve your ticket, and it tells you all the information. It tells you what time, it tells you what auditorium or theater it's going to be in, and usually at certain AMCs you get to choose your seat. So it's like, it's the way you should be doing movies. And so you could just, it's very easy to find out what the auditorium is. So whereas like at that mom and pop one, we kind of had to just be like, hey, what's playing before Back to the Future? And can we get a ticket for that? Which is still very easy.
And still, like, as the mom and pop one, it's like, well, we've got 3 screens, and I can tell you that right away.
Yeah, exactly. So we've done it with the inclusion of Captain Marvel. I believe we've done it 3 times, and it's so good. If you have the time to do a double feature, first of all, we love movies. Why wouldn't we try to do a double feature if we got the time? And like, it's also fun to try and connect the double features in some strange way. Like
which we did by accident. Week, but yeah.
Like Ladybird and Back to the Ladybird and Back to the Future.
Ladybird sounds like the weirdest 80s like pseudo sci-fi rom-com ever.
So like we connected those some way because like 2 teenagers, you know, whatever, having to deal with stuff. And then the second one that we did was Daddy's Home 2 and The Last Jedi, right? Yeah.
Yes, because when you told me about that, my response to that was, oh, the connection there is that Mel Gibson was an astronaut in Daddy's Home 2, so space, I guess?
Yes.
So...
It's got daddy issues. Both
also,
movies have daddy issues.
Major daddy issues, yes.
You know, they're holiday themed, kinda. And then for this one, we saw Happy Death Day to You and Captain Marvel, which, as you pointed out, 2 movies that have 2 badass, strong female leads, and like they have time stuff in them. Like they have
like some memory. There's some memory stuff going on. There's some time stuff going on. Yeah. It works. It works.
There's a lot of there's blue. There's a lot of blue going on. There's 2.
No cat though. No cat in Death Day.
No
That's
cat
the only
in Death
problem.
Day.
Only thing that would have made that movie better.
What else? There's another thing. Oh, there are 2 huge like quantum explosions that happen.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh right, that.
Within the same, like, they are very similar up to the slow motion.
Oh God, you're right. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Like, it was a perfect double feature.
I love that Happy Death Day to You basically was like, well, the first one was the Groundhog Day movie and also a slasher because Blumhouse.
Yeah.
But our second movie, we really want to do a Back to the Future 2 thing. So, I mean, the killing is still there, but it's not nearly as important as the time, fuckery we want to do in this movie.
Exactly. And I loved it.
Oh, it's so good. Like that's the thing. Here's the thing. They want to do a third one.
Yes.
And
I mean, they are
considering
doing a third one.
They are definitely doing a third one at this point. But like the idea that like if you had given me 1,000,000 typewriters and infinity time, I would not have told you what they were going to do.
Oh no.
Where they went, that they would have gone where they went in Happy Death Day to You. And I love that. Which is why I hope that the third one just also goes off the fucking rails somewhere else. Yeah. Like the idea that like I couldn't tell you what this next one would be. Like I hope it's that unpredictable because that movie opens and 1,000,000 thoughts go through my head where Ryan wakes up and I went, oh, it's the same day. And then they go, oh no, it's the day after, which is great in its own thing. Like the idea that they would be like, okay, we immediately pick up where the first one ended, and that would be the repeat, and then to be like, nope, fuck you, we're redoing the same day all over again. Yeah. Screw you.
Yeah, screw you and whatever you thought.
So like we did the slasher thing, but also we left like 8 giant loose threads in the first movie, and we're gonna deal with some of them right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like the first movie totally lends itself to multiple sequels. It really does. And I think that's the beauty, because it also, they They could have just left it where it was. It's
Right.
kind of
Like
a
it doesn't. It
perfect.
doesn't. It's like a
Yeah,
perfect movie in that it could just be what it is, or if you want to do sequels to it,
you
there's
can. You
plenty of
can
open
build on
threads to
that
deal
world.
with that idea.
And I'm so happy that like it's just a multiverse situation. First of all, I love multiverse ideas. Um and watching Tree learn about
I mean,
the multiverse and like needing to understand what's going on is amazing cuz she's
like
like on board with it. She's like, "Okay,
right, like
this is
all of
my
the
life now."
concepts that they bring to this movie, where
Yeah.
it's like it's not just that you're looping through time anymore. It is that you are looping through time into a different universe,
Yep.
and that version of you has also been pushed into a different universe. And
Dimension, yeah.
even though they never show that version of Tree. Like you think about like immediately my brain went to what the hell is that Tree dealing with if
Mhm.
she got stuck in a universe where her mother is dead?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a version of this character where her mother never died,
Mhm.
and then to find out that there's like any number of other universes where she did, that's fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And to think that you never see her, you only have to deal with this one version of Tree who goes, I can't put her through the thing I went through. That is fucking magnificent as
Yeah.
far as character goes.
Yeah.
Like that's brilliant.
Yeah. Whereas me sitting at the end of Happy Death Day to You, I'm like, she could have stayed. And then Devin's like, no, she couldn't. I'm like, but yeah, but like,
Because
yeah,
this
I
is
know
a
she
version of Tree
couldn't.
that has already dealt with that
Yes,
grief.
exactly, yeah.
Like, oh my
And
God, to be
it's
like, no, I've been through this. I can't put someone else through the thing I
exactly,
have been
yeah.
put through is, oh my God.
And watching it the second, because that was my second viewing of it when we saw it on Thursday, and it was just like, yeah, like it didn't occur to me that, oh crap, this universe's Tree is dealing with something else and has no, like it didn't even click until after the movie and we were discussing it, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy and scary and like, oh my God, the levels.
Yeah, and then on top of that, to be like, like in the first movie, the most that you get out of because she's living the same day over
Yeah.
and over, you never really get an idea of what Tree is doing in
Mhm.
college besides being a sorority girl, and like she's having her affair with that teacher, and like you get bits and pieces of her. Like she's still a very smart and strong character in the first movie. I love Tree in the first movie.
Mm.
What I love in the second one is that she is also able to fucking learn quantum mechanics and
Whoa!
memorize like any number of algorithms for these guys, because it's just like, yeah, no, she's some sort of science major. I mean, she's in some sort of medical or biology
She's in advanced
path.
bio. She's in
Right.
advanced bio.
So
That was
the fact that
amazing.
she can like turn around to these like computer engineering
Mhm.
guys and be like, okay, I'm gonna memorize all of this shit for you
Mm.
so that you don't lose your space, is like they don't even have to like she even says, this is not what my area of expertise, but I'm gonna fucking do it, and she does it. And there's not any point in
Yeah.
that movie where you think,
She
why can she do this?
Yeah.
No, you go, okay, she's a smart girl. She did it. She's like,
Exactly.
I'm gonna do it, and then she did it. And the movie's like, okay, I've done it. Like that's it. There's
Mhm.
no point in that movie where you have to worry about how smart she is or that she knows what she's doing. They give you all of this faith in the world to be like, okay, she'll figure this out.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so happy that they don't make you worry about Tree in a lot of ways
Mhm.
beyond the emotional stuff she's dealing
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, the only time where there's a moment where it's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" is there's the moment in the beginning of Happy Death Day to You where Carter like takes the bat from her and she's like, "I can handle myself." And he's like, "You've died enough."
Yeah.
Like it's not a moment of I don't believe in you. It's a moment of no, I want to have a relationship with you and I don't want you to die for real. Like you've done it. You have gone through this. We're not dealing with it anymore. I have
Especially 'cause
all
they
the
have to-
faith in you. But yeah.
You're absolutely right. Like he sees her as an equal. And they also
Yes.
have to set up the fact that you don't see that version of Carter for the rest of the movie.
Exactly.
Because they all of a sudden they have to change these characterizations. So like they need you to understand this is where Carter stood at the end of that first movie.
Mhm.
He sees her completely as an equal that he respects,
Mhm.
and just thinks like, it's my turn.
Yeah.
And to then be like, okay, here's the character switch. Like
Yeah, it's good. It's so good. But that reveal that she's in advanced bio is amazing. Cuz it's like, okay, cool. Like everything makes sense. Everything about Tree makes sense now.
Yeah.
And it made sense before, but giving that little background is amazing. And him being like, what? was awesome. Gregory.
I
Fucking
also like to
asshole.
point out, and I don't know, I need to check. Is there any point at which she kisses her actual boyfriend? The one time she kisses a version of Carter is in the other universe, right? Because at the
Uh,
beginning of the movie they have been interrupted.
yep.
Then there's another scene where they're going to kiss at the basketball game
And
and
they're
they get
interrupted.
interrupted. And then at the end of the movie when she comes back to the thing, they get interrupted again and then it goes to credits. I don't think there's a point in that movie where she ever kisses her actual boyfriend,
Yeah,
which
no,
I
she doesn't.
find
Yeah.
hilarious.
Which, like, so I was thinking about that, and I was like, why? Oh, damn it, Zach! Because I was thinking about that, and I'm like, it's so weird. Because, like, there's that part of me, like I said, I was like, she could stay in this universe. She now has Carter back because he's dating Danielle. But clearly she's a bitch still. Like, she's nice, but
Also,
she's still not
I
a
might be
great person.
I might be completely wrong about this, but the guy that's in the shower in
Nick?
Danielle's ring, is that the guy that the other guy is sitting with at the basketball game at the beginning of the movie? That
No.
the other gay
Nope.
guy?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nick is from the first movie. He's the dude who, like, Tree was gonna also try
Oh,
and see. Yeah.
yes, he's the one in the bedroom scene in the
Yes.
first movie that
Yep.
where the music is too loud for anyone to hear him getting killed. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yes.
No, the guy with Tim is just
Love that they
another.
brought back literally every character
Yes.
and actor from that first movie
Mhm.
and gave them okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and gave them stuff to do, like more new stuff to do and more stuff to do.
Right. They're like they get to play new versions
Yeah.
of the same characters in the best way.
Yeah, there's only
Oh.
three new added characters really, and it's the dean and then
And
the
two
two.
people. Yeah,
the
Samar
two
and I did not get the girl's name. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
other
something with a
engineering
D or a
character.
G or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, it's just that whole thing with Carter where they're kissing and it's like such a beautiful, like romantic. It's so nice and cute and I love it. And I'm like, earlier today I was like, but that wasn't her Carter. Like,
Nope.
why was it?
She never gets to
Why
kiss
did it
her
mean?
version of Carter in that whole
But
movie.
it's like, but you're sitting there, and I'm starting to think, I'm like, why does it mean so much that she gets to kiss him? It's not hers. And then like, you just cracked it, Zach, because she never has gotten to kiss. At least, I mean, she has. She's gotten to kiss him at some point, I'm sure. But like, because they kiss in the first
Well,
movie, don't they?
They do not. Well, here's the thing.
Don't-
The first movie goes beyond where this movie starts.
Yeah.
Because after they wake up in the morning, they kiss, and then they go out to breakfast, and then they have the Groundhog Day conversation where she never sees Groundhog Day. Because this movie stops that from happening, no,
No.
they have never actually kissed.
Okay, so so she hasn't gotten to kiss Carter. She's like, I'm gonna take my opportunity now. So like, it does mean something, and this movie just has layers upon layers
Right,
upon
which is
layers,
why,
and
like,
it's
which
crazy.
is why, as much as like there was a part of me watching this one where I was like, oh, they kind of leaned a lot on their relationship in this one, because she goes through the whole thing about basically essentially choosing between her mom and Carter in a lot of ways.
yeah.
But one, I think that they ultimately were like, I think they really pulled out of that where it was like, no, she's actually just accepting the fact that she has dealt with this in a way that it would be unhealthy for her to stay here after dealing with that.
Yeah.
I think they did that really well. But then again, noticing that they never get her to kiss him, it's like, oh, they're just also doing that because they want to fuck with the audience,
Yep.
and that she never kisses her own boyfriend, which is great.
It's crazy. Oh, it's so
Oh.
good. Yeah.
And then I'm so happy that there was no romance subplot at all in our second movie of the evening,
Yes,
which was Captain Marvel.
Captain
Oh
Marvel,
my God.
the world's
That's the
truest
movie
first
that-
Avenger. Sorry, I need.
Oh,
I need
you're
to
right.
say it.
I believe you. I'm going to give you that one. As much as I would like to mess with you on the whole Captain America is older, you're not wrong in that they weren't called Avengers until she came along.
Yep. It's great. It makes
I
me
want to
so
say before
happy.
before we get into Captain Marvel, can I say when Happy Death Day to you ended? First off, when I got up to run to the bathroom and you and Devin were like, "No, come back!"
Yeah.
You like slow motion dove in front of me like, "No, there's a mid credit scene," which was great. But the other thing that made me laugh was when they were cleaning up the theater between films,
Oh
and the
yeah.
guy turned to us and was like, "Are you guys here for the next one?" And we were like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay," and they
Yeah, they don't.
left.
Yep.
And I was like, they didn't check, they didn't ask, they didn't do anything.
Mhm.
They just straight up assumed we were telling the truth.
Yeah, that's happened every time that we've ladybird, quote unquote
That's
ladybird.
so funny.
Like
That's
they
so funny
just
to me that they didn't check. I thought the next thing would be that he would come up the steps
and
and
check
check
our.
our tickets.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Nope. Nope. They just kind of
Uh,
they kind of just look at us. They say, "What's happening?" We say, "We're here for the next movie too. We bought tickets." And then they go about their business
Keep the
because
faith,
like
man. We're good. Don't worry about
they
us.
don't care. I don't honestly think anybody cares.
Like, no one's paid enough to care at a movie
Yeah.
theater. That's the thing.
No. Well,
Um,
also like there's a part of me that thinks so the woman who helped us at
you mean the one that like really liked my nail polish?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. She's great. She was
That whole ticket buying. If I could not have written a funnier sequence of events for us buying those movie tickets, oh my
well, yeah,
God.
because it was so fun. She's the first person that we ever like dealt with or met with at AMC. She was like our very first person that we ever bought tickets from there and all of that. So she's great. She's fantastic. Um, she like I walked up to her and we had like this nice little moment while you were running to the bathroom of us like trying to figure out what theater to pick, and like you just if you're open with people, they're not gonna care. Because I straight up told her, I'm like, we're trying to plan a double feature so we can be in for Captain Marvel, and she's like, that's genius. That's an amazing plan. So she was like all about it. I would not be surprised if she like mentioned to those cleaner guys or like mentioned to someone
There's gonna be
that
someone in there. Don't
there's
worry about them.
yeah, there's gonna be some people in there who are there for Captain Marvel. Just let them be. But at the same time, I don't think they care enough. Like I said,
Well, I just love that. I walk up to that window, and first off, she's yelling through the glass
yep.
at me, and she's like, "What movie do you want?" I was like, "Okay, well, I want these two." She's like, "Okay, good." And then she finally, I hand her the stuff, and then she hits the button to ask me what about my nail polish, and the squelch. I was like, "Whoa, I get it. I get why. I get why you were not using this."
Yeah, yeah.
And then she's like, "What color are you wearing?" And the first thing I did was looked at my sweater. Which you think I'd be used to at this point because people are constantly asking me about my
Yeah.
nails, and I still don't remember
Yeah.
that.
So funny.
then she's asking about my black nail polish and not my red nail polish, which is crazy. But then we're all sitting there and we're buying our tickets, and these two girls come in and they go through the whole stanchions like line and come up. And then one of them said, "Are we really doing this?" And the other one said, "Yeah, we have to be civil." And they looked right at Devin and went, "We fucking walked in and walked right up to the window. We're monsters."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And then
you're
they bought
not
tickets for Happy Death Day to You, and we're right in the same theater as us, which was even funnier.
Yeah. Oh,
But it
so
was
good.
just the fact that they, like these two like 14-year-old kids go up and they're like, "Oh, we gotta be civil. We gotta go through the line." And me and Devin are like, "We're fucking terrible.
Mhm.
We're the worst."
Mhm. Yeah. It happens.
Oh man. But how
Yes.
about that cat and Samuel L. Jackson? Quite frankly, best Marvel couple I've ever seen. To be quite honest. Oh man.
It's so good. Captain Marvel was amazing.
It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yes.
It's perfectly like I mean it's a Marvel movie, like through and through, top to bottom. It is a Marvel movie, which means I put it above like the original Captain America, but I put it in that same like if I'm gonna rank them out, Captain Marvel's gonna hit on like probably lower on my top 10 list. I've got
Okay.
other movies I like to see, but like I'm so happy I saw it.
I got you.
I was pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
by Captain Marvel.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It would rank pretty high for me. I don't know why. I just love that. I love the whole story, like the whole idea of Captain Marvel, and just everything about it. I love space.
No,
So,
that's
like,
fair. I mean, I'm gonna remember like the fact that so right before during all the press stuff,
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, however you say his last name,
Feige? I don't know.
because it's not Feig. I've
Yeah, I
learned
know.
very recently it's not just Feig. It's like Feige or something.
Yeah.
He had said something like, you know, the reason we held off this long for Captain Marvel and the reason she's being introduced right before Endgame is we wanted you to realize that she is the most powerful character in the entire MCU, and a lot of people kind of rolled their eyes.
But
And there's
she
a few
is.
people, and there's a lot of people that I think saw the movie and were like, "Well, this is kind of like a, it's a mid-tier origin story type of Marvel
Hmm.
movie." I don't know why you're saying that. And then I think she took out an fucking entire Kree armada alone
Yeah,
and laughing.
yeah.
That's why she's the most powerful character in the MCU. She straight up destroyed how many nukes
Yeah.
and took out entire spaceships by herself.
Hmm. Yeah, she is. She like legit, like no question, she is the strongest. Because she can also just fly through space.
That too. She also just like, okay, I'm gonna put my helmet on and I'm
Yeah.
just doing whatever the fuck I want now. I don't need any of this.
She can survive in space. She can blow up nukes. She deals with everything with humor. Like she's serious, but she can also have fun with it. She's so good. And I was really nervous about Brie Larson because Brie Larson is one of those people who I don't know how I feel about in
I don't
certain
know, and I don't think I've
situations.
ever seen her. Like the most I can think of is I watched Scott Pilgrim at some point. I don't remember her in Scott Pilgrim.
Do you know who she is now?
I mean, I know who she is now as Captain Marvel. I haven't gone back and watched Scott Pilgrim in so long. I still couldn't tell you who she is in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh,
Like I don't remember who she plays in that movie.
she's his ex-girlfriend.
She's
She's
like,
the band, like the singer.
oh, the one that's like going out with the bassist now or something.
Yes, or
Yeah.
yeah, the vegan.
Right. I
She's
got fucking nothing. Like nothing comes to mind.
yeah.
And I didn't see Room and like I don't remember a fucking thing about Brie Larson. So like I had
So
no thoughts whatsoever going into this movie about who she was as an actor.
so yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
could think
funny.
nothing. She is a fucking
She,
like as far as I'm concerned, this is the first movie Brie Larson's ever done.
oh wow.
Like,
No, so I was reminded that she was in a movie called Hoot, which is about
oh my god.
the three kids saving the little owls.
Yeah, I
Yep.
remember previews for who.
Yep. I love
Or the
that
book
movie.
or something. It was a book first,
It
right?
was a book first,
This is like
yeah.
one of those things that would be like a kid's book. Yeah. Like I
Sh-
kind of remember who.
she and Coulson, who his name is Clark Gregg.
Yeah, Clark Gregg.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Nathan Coulson. Oh, you just reminded me. Thank you.
Yeah, you have
another
a question
thing
about
him in a
Coulson,
second.
don't you?
We're gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna get to that in a second, but continue.
So they're in Hoot together,
Oh,
but
Greg, you're nothing but he's. Let me guess. Bureaucrat, bad guy,
yeah.
something.
Oh
in
yeah,
that movie.
he's a bad
Yeah,
guy.
that's
He
all he
wants to
fucking does.
bulldoze over
All he ever does
the
is
owls.
all he ever does is wear a suit and talk smugly, and he does it so well
Yeah.
that I will watch him do it a million
Mhm.
times for the rest
Yeah.
of my life.
Oh man. Yeah, so what else has Brie Larson been in? So I didn't see The Room or Room. It's not The Room, it's just Room.
No, that's just it. There's very big differences between the movie Room and the movie The
The
Room.
Room.
Those
Yes.
very different things.
But I love her in Scott Pilgrim. I think she is great in Scott Pilgrim. She was
Problem
in
with me not rewatching movies ever is that I forget who's in what all the time.
the
Uh,
That's fine. I don't know. You saw. I don't know actors based on names sometimes. Because you guys were talking about an actor for like 20 minutes, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
is
right.
that this person?"
F.
You
Murray
were
Abraham
like,
this, F. Murray Abraham that.
Ew.
And who did you think we were talking about? I can't remember anymore.
the grandfather from Spy Kids.
Oh, Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh man.
Anyways, so it's so weird. Like Brie Larson, like I like her in movies, but I also am always like cautiously optimistic about her. But like
She was
now,
in Kong, which no one saw. So
Yeah.
she was in Kong.
oh, Kong
Free
is so
Fire.
good.
That's what it was. I remember she was one of the ones in that Free Fire movie about like let's spend 2 hours in one shootout and try and make that a movie, and it kind of only somewhat worked.
What? I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Sejan saw it and thought she was in Trainwreck.
I didn't see Trainwreck.
Really?
Amy Schumer. Nope.
Yeah.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, I'm not
no.
seeing. Oh, she's in an episode of. She was on Community. How is she on Community? And I didn't
Yeah.
recognize her. Sorry, I'm on her IMDb
No, that's
page.
fine.
Anyway.
She was in a movie called Short Term 12, which is like about a group, not a group home. Foster? Is it a group home? I don't know what it's.
Halfway House. Oh, I'm guessing on words now.
No, so it's about like kids who are like they're not in good, like I don't know if it's
The
they're taken.
foster care, as it sounds at
It's
the very
I
least.
think it's
Some version of
foster
foster
care.
care. Yeah.
I think it's a version of foster care, pretty much. It's basically teenagers living in a home together because their home life is not good. But I don't. I feel like those have so many different names now
Right.
that I don't know what to call them. But she's in that Short Term 12, and she's fantastic in that. It is a serious, like a dramatic role, and she like plays it so well. Um, and then she's also in Kong, which I actually like Kong Skull Island a
I
lot.
haven't seen it yet, but I know that I will like it. Like
Oh
that's one of
yeah,
those movies where like I'm pretty certain I'm gonna like whatever campy ass movie this is.
yeah,
I just haven't sat down and watched it yet.
yeah. But this is the first time like I don't know. It's maybe
Well, this is like her
she's
jump
so
to like
good.
action movie
Yes.
versus like big dramatic role or like side character kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is like her
'Cause even
first
in
leading action
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of spunny role kind of
It's
thing.
like
Yeah.
and it's because even in Kong Skull Island, she's exactly like she's a sidekick kind of. She doesn't do any of the big, at least from what I remember, she doesn't do any of the big like stunts or anything like that. It's mainly Tom Hiddleston who's like the stunt guy.
Oh, I forgot Tom Hiddleston was
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, it's fantastic, Zach. Anyways. So I don't know. I just think that she was so good, and I love Brie Larson. Like I have like decided on Brie Larson now, and she's badass.
Yeah. No, like and at the same like I'm excited to see if they do a second Captain Marvel movie, like what they're gonna do with her, and I am excited for her to show up in Endgame and be like, you guys are all fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I'm taking control of
Yeah.
this now.
I can't wait for her to fucking upstage Captain America.
Rogers?
Yeah. I
You know there's gonna
cannot
be some
wait for her to be like, you're a child. We're done with you. And
judging entirely on who is still with. Okay, so we don't know what's gonna happen with Tony Stark.
no.
Here's the thing, because I would have said what's about to come out of my mouth. I would have assumed would be a Tony Stark conversation, but we don't know what the fuck's going on with him.
Mm-mm.
So I assume it will be Mark Ruffalo and Bruce Banner who gets confused by the captains for a good like 3-minute
Oh,
scene.
yeah.
I'm waiting for who gets the scene where they try to figure out which captain's the captain.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen for the Disney humor of it.
oh,
And, like, no doubt in my mind.
like someone like I can
Or
get
like even
call
Thor.
the shot.
Like, oh wait, is Thor gone?
No,
Thor's
Thor's back. No, here's the thing. So
Thor's still there?
you and I have not had this conversation because I had this conversation with someone else. The people who are still that we know are definitely still remaining are the original Avengers from the first movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
So
good.
Thor.
Yeah.
So Thor, Hulk, Iron Man,
Iron
Captain
Man.
America, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. We
Yes.
know that they are alive.
Yeah.
Those are this. Yeah. So like they very clearly went, we're gonna kill off everybody who wasn't the
Who's
original
new.
6. Right.
Yeah,
but-
I just can't wait for her to come in and just be like, you're wrong. This is how we're doing it. I've dealt with these people, but I've dealt with like a version of these people before. We're done. Like, I'm gonna take care of this.
Yeah. And as
Um,
someone who managed to just call a shot by accident during this film, I want to say this. I'm putting it right now. We'll put a pin in this. This is me calling the shot. I think Bruce Banner is going to say the line, wait, if she's captain and you're captain, which one's the captain? I'm confused. That's the line. Some version of that line, we are all going to listen for it as a family, everybody. Who, at some point, Bruce Banner says the line, wait, if she's captain and you're captain, which captain do I listen to? Or something.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
But yes, let's also talk about that called shot that I called from
You like
screen
called
scene 1 of that cat being on
Yep.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So about 20 minutes into the movie? I'd say 20 minutes, right?
whatever time marker is the first time that Nick Fury and Goose are on screen together. Because
Oh, yeah.
they were on screen and I leaned over to you and I went, that cat's gonna scratch out his eye and it's gonna be the funniest fucking thing in the world if that happens. An hour later
It happens.
after 2 false starts because he gets hit
Oh
because he has the
yes.
car accident
Yep.
where his eye goes red, and then there's the next scene where he's got the ice pack over it,
Mhm.
and he says, "Oh, my eye is fine," and he takes it away, and that's a great reveal.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I thought that that meant it wasn't going to happen the whole movie. I thought that was going to be the thing where they were going to do one more joke about his eye, and that wasn't going to happen, or like the final after credit scene or something would be some joke about his eye or something.
Yeah.
And instead, the fucking cat scratches his eye.
Yep.
It gives him the scars and everything.
Yep.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It was Zach. When it happened, I was.
Here's the thing. It happened, and I went, "Oh, I was joking," and also that's a joke, right? Like he's gonna open his eye and everything's gonna be. He's gonna have the scars, but his eye will be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a joke where
No.
that's where he got the scars, but the eye actually happened somewhere else.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. I could not stop laughing because I was just like, I know what's
Oh,
going on in
man.
Zach's head right now, and he's just like, I was joking.
Here's the
I
here's the
made a
thing.
joke.
So the reason I was even thinking about that, right, is I'm at home a couple weeks ago, and I come downstairs, and my father is watching Winter Soldier on Netflix,
Oh, God.
and Nick Fury has a line where he said someone asked him about the eye patch. I don't remember if it's Steve or someone else.
And he
Someone
says,
asked him about the eye patch,
"Last
and
time
he
I-"
says, and what he says is, "Oh, that's what happened the last time I trusted
someone.
somebody,"
Yep.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And so
that's
my
what it is.
father says to me, "Oh, Captain Marvel is going to be where he loses the eye because he trusted somebody, right?" And I went, "Yeah, probably." And that was the most I thought about it. And then I saw that fucking cat, and I went, "Are you fucking kidding?" And I was like, "I bet you it would be really funny if that cat was the one that fucking took his eye."
So good. So good.
Oh my God.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I loved it. It really does rank really high up. It even ranks, and it makes me sad because I love Spider-Man so much, but it's way higher than Homecoming.
I want to watch Homecoming again because here's the thing. Because what I was thinking when I thought about it was like, right now my top two are Ragnarok and Black Panther,
Yeah,
and really
me too.
whichever one is 1 and 2 really depends on how I'm feeling that day and
Yep.
what type of movie I want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then like second tier is like all of the funny ones, like the Guardians of the Galaxy and Homecoming
Ant-Man.
and the Ant-Man movies. Like
Yeah.
all of those again kind of depends. Like they're pretty even for me.
Mhm.
And then you get into things like I like the first Captain America and I like Captain Marvel and I like even like Iron Man 3. Like I would probably like
I really like Iron Man 3.
yeah, no, I like that too. But like Iron Man 3 is also a movie where I'm not gonna go back and watch it anytime soon,
Yeah.
probably because like
Yeah.
I don't think about it as like I really like what it did with the character. Also, I don't need to see it again. Like
Mm.
Captain Marvel, I think ranks slightly above like Iron Man 3 and the first Captain America for me, or even like Winter Soldier or something, where it's just like these are solid superhero movies,
Yeah.
and I love what they did, and also probably not going to go back and watch them again anytime soon.
Captain America is so low, so, like bottom of the list for me. Honestly, like Captain America and like even like Age of Ultron, Avengers, those are all bottom of the list.
Yeah.
They really are. Like I like Avengers for what it is. Like I like that it's it's the first, time that we see everybody, but like Captain America does nothing for me. Like no. You're
I mean, it's just, like,
annoying.
it really just comes down to the fact that like there's just so much of the MCU I don't really think about on a
Mm.
regular basis.
Yeah.
The ones I think about are the ones that make me laugh, which is why
Yes.
Captain Marvel ranks above like any of the Captain America movies or the Iron Man movies
Well,
because we laughed so much more in that movie than I thought we were gonna do.
oh yeah.
But I also wouldn't put it in with like the comedy MCU movies.
Mm.
And those are the ones I'm more likely to go back and watch because like I don't need that heavy shit very often.
I don't need that. I don't
So
need
like
any
the
of
comedy
that.
movies, and then just the fact that Ragnarok and Black Panther are so much better than anything the MCU
Yeah.
puts out on a regular
yeah.
basis. They're just above that. So like those are the ones I think of when I think of these are the movies I would bother going back to watch again.
Well, like even Doctor Strange too. Like Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel I mean, Captain Marvel, again, ranks higher than Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange has those, like, you're funny, but I still don't know how I feel about you.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
like what you did. Your effects are I love all the effects. I love all of, like, yeah. Like, I'm on board, but I don't know if I'm ready to watch you again.
Right. Right. And then
Yeah.
but then I'm also very excited for what the next Captain Marvel is. Like I liked
Yes.
Captain Marvel as a prelude to Endgame. I think it did perfect for that.
Mm.
And I really hope that like after Endgame that gives them some freedom to do something else
Yeah.
completely wild with
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
I also have to ask you something about Coulson
Oh, yes.
because Coulson makes a return in this movie.
Yeah.
And I realized something after we watched it. Agent Coulson has not been in an MCU film since he
No.
died in Avengers.
Nope.
Do you think there are people that don't remember Coulson? Do you think there are people that don't remember who that
Hmm.
was and so they might not get some of the stuff that happens with Coulson in this movie for the like 3 scenes that he's in it? Because if you don't watch Agents of Shield, you haven't seen Coulson
Coulson
since
for a while.
Avengers.
Yeah. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if there were people who were like, "Who's this guy?" I would
Agents of
not
Shield, a show that's still going
going. Yeah.
apparently.
Which is you
I
text
knew
me
that.
that there are 2 seasons on the way, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"What?"
I knew that it ended at season 5. I knew that it had ended like right before or right around the time that Infinity War came
Yeah.
out. And so like my thought process was, well, okay, they ended that right before Infinity War and that ended the series. Nope. First off, Infinity War came out like 4 or 5 episodes before
Jeez.
Agents of Shield season 5 ended. And then also they're like, oh, by the way, we'll be back for season 6, and they gave it a season 7
Yeah.
that they're just gonna film back to back apparently, and it's gonna start up in May. Okay. I mean, I'm not complaining. Agents of Shield is a fine show that I put on like 3 or 4 episodes and then don't watch for months at a time.
Mm.
But but like why?
Yeah. I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
make any like it got no viewership on ABC, and yet for some reason some dark pact was made where Agents of Shield keeps going, and Agent Carter was canceled after 2
Yeah, I
years.
know.
Oh,
Seriously.
it makes me so mad.
Seriously.
Makes me
Agent
so
Carter
mad.
was so good. Ugh. Ugh. Why'd you even bring it up, Zach?
Because I need you to share this anger with me.
Well, I do.
Because we
Jeez.
just passed International Women's Day and a
I know.
British woman got screwed.
Yep.
Damn it.
Ugh. Yeah, because that show was so good.
That
Oh,
show was,
Zach!
that show was so good, especially because here's the thing. The only reason I cared about Civil War
Was
is
because of that.
because of Agent
Yep.
Carter.
Yep.
Because you get to know Tony Stark's
Mhm.
father so much more in Agent Carter that when that whole thing comes up in Civil War about Bucky, you
Yep.
actually care more.
Yep.
Oh.
Jeez. Yeah, I forgot how good Agent Carter was. Oh, man.
On that note, I'm burned out. I got nothing else.
We've been talking for almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, I thought that might happen just because I knew how much I had to complain about between Rhode Island bureaucrocy and Bones. I knew
Oh,
there
I'm
was
okay
a
with
lot
it.
I had to
I'm
complain
okay
about.
with it. I could talk. I could just keep talking
Uh,
about Captain Marvel too. I could just talk about every scene in that
yeah,
movie.
I'm so excited that like money wise, it looks like it's gonna be like
Oh,
right
yeah.
there doing what all the other Marvel, even better than a lot of other. I think with the exception of Infinity War, it has like the best Thursday preview showing
Yeah.
with like $20 million on Thursday, which is great. It's on track to make 150 something million this weekend, which is perfect. So screw you, terrible internet men.
Yeah, seriously. Ugh.
Ugh.
It was. Ugh. People are ridiculous. They
I
get on
was
my
also very
nerves.
happy. I was very happy with that scene about the "You Should Smile More" because I thought in my brain I had just put that scene together as she beats the shit out of that guy,
No.
which would have been funny enough. But instead, it's just no, she just steals his bike.
Yep.
She just leaves him there, and
Yep.
you never see him again. It's like that's exactly what that guy deserves to
Oh,
be
yeah.
left in the fucking dust.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I was like waiting for her to punch him out, and I was like, oh, that's even better. Yeah. Thank you for stealing his
doesn't
bike. And
deserve-
then you never see
doesn't-
the bike again. It's not like
No,
that's
she
like
takes it
now
to
her
the bar.
ride.
She takes it to the bar. She hooks up with Sam Jackson, and then it's gone. That's it.
Yep.
They leave after that.
So good. Oh,
I
man.
like the bees. I can make them rhyme. Oh man, that movie was good. That movie was so good.
Yes, it really was. I'm so happy. I'm so happy
Um,
with it. I mean,
this.
oh, God.
Uh, do you have anything else?
I liked it so much that I made her as a fighter pilot doing the little hang 10 symbol as my background on my computer. That's what
Boom.
I'm going to leave.
There we go. Uh, This has been Say Report Jr. You can find us on Twitter at Say Report Jr. If you search Say Report Jr. on YouTube, we are there. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, again, quick preview because in the next couple of weeks I have to do the bartending stuff. We will probably have a hot topic coming as well as a possible new SRJ Presents,
Oh,
which I'm
God.
so excited to show Dale. Um, oh, there's a song. There's a song that opens that
Oh, my God.
game.
Oh, my God.
Um,
Oh, my
it's
God.
great. It's wonderful.
Can't wait.
You can find us individually on Twitter. I am at Zerwisky.
And I am at Dale's Brain. And with that, I think we all should go get ice cream.
Yes.
Take
Take it away.
Liz. Oh, that was almost going to be in unison.
I couldn't remember which one of us should do that, so I was like, ooh, what do you do?
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.